Hi, it's Steve. Today we'd like to show you how to change the drain hose on your top load washer. It's a really easy repair. Let me show you how we do it. Now, to do this repair, we'll need a lot of access at the back of the washer. That may involve removing the inlet fill hoses, so be sure to turn the water off first. Pull the washer forward, disconnect the cord from the outlet so we have no power going to the washer, and then we're ready to start the repair. Now, once we're at the back of the washer, we're going to remove these 1/4-inch hex head screws that secure that back panel to the cabinet. Be sure to hold it in place as you remove the last screw, and then we need to pull that away from that tab on the drain hose mounting bracket. You may need to depress that tab slightly so that it will clear. Then lift it away from the base of the washer cabinet and set it aside. Now, with the back panel removed, our next step will be to loosen this clamp on the outlet of the drain pump. We'll slide the clamp up onto the hose and then remove it for use on the new hose. Now, chances are there will be some water in this area, so I'll have something to collect that. Then take our pliers. You may have to twist that hose a bit to break the bond on it. And if it's on there really snug, simply take a flat blade screwdriver and just lift out the edges. Once we pull that off, we'll remove the clamp and set that aside for use on the new one. Now, the old drain hose will not pull through that mounting bracket. So what we'll need to do next is remove the single screw for that. We'll pull that away. We can then remove that mounting clip on the side that secures it to the suspension rod. So we'll take out this 1/4-inch hex head screw. Just slide that tab down and away. We also have a little button plug that we'll want to push through. You can either simply push that through with your fingers or take a pair of needle nose pliers from the back side and pry it through. We'll try not to damage that so that we can reuse it. Next, we'll remove a little arrowhead fastener that secures that harness. Simply squeeze that together with your pliers. Push it out through the hole in that bracket. You can then either disconnect that bracket from the suspension rod or undo the latch that secures it to the drain hose. Peel the drain hose away from it. Now, next we'll need to remove the drain hose from the mounting bracket because we will need to reuse this bracket. And you'll note that it has a tapered fit and then it locks into place, so it's really difficult to push that back down through. Since we're replacing the hose, we're simply going to cut the old one off at that point, just where it comes up through there, and remove the two halves. And then pull the old hose away from that bracket and discard it. Now, with the new hose, you'll note that just above that rigid portion at the bottom is where we have cut the old hose. And there's a tapered flange that will point to the bottom, and then a couple little locking tabs on the top. So we're going to feed the outlet end of the hose up through this opening. pull it all the way through. And then we need to make sure that we pull it up far enough that it locks in place. Rotate it to make sure all of those tabs are pushed all the way through. We can now install the clamp on the bottom of the hose. Just slide it up around that bend. You'll note that there's a notch in the bottom of that drain hose that lines up with a tab on the outlet of the pump. So we need to make sure that we push that firmly down onto that and that the notch fits over that tab. We'll then reposition the clamp. And that will fit in between the two raised ribs on that hose connector. Next, we'll line up the clamp for the suspension rod and the air dome tube. Simply spread that far enough that we can fit the hose in. And there are two oval shaped tabs on the exterior of that hose that will line up some openings on that bracket. Simply squeeze it together and engage that locking tab. We can then lift the mounting bracket up into place. We'll reconnect that button tab from the back side, push it all the way through. Slide that tab up behind the metal mounting plate and then secure that bracket with a single screw. And then we'll also reconnect that arrowhead fastener for the harness through the hole on the side of that bracket. Press it all the way in until it locks in place. And now we're ready to reinstall our back panel. Now, when reinstalling that back panel, we want to make sure that we engage these two tabs on the bottom into these two notches that are cut into the base frame. So line those up carefully, tilt the panel into place, secure one side with a screw, make sure that the tab on the bracket that secures the drain hose engages and pops out to the outside of that panel. And then we'll just go ahead and install the rest of the retaining screws. Now we're ready to push the washer back into position. With the washer pushed back into place, you can reconnect the fill hoses if you've removed them for the repair. Turn on the water supply and check for leaks. We'll reconnect the drain hose, reconnect the power, and your repair is complete.